All right, welcome back to the channel. So, according to Bob Arum, Deontay Wilder is losing his case against Tyson Fury and will not be enjoined from fighting Anthony Joshua. That, my friend, is not worth listening to because it's Bob Arum saying it. What else is he going to say? And please, in this video, I'll remind you that this is not the first time that Bob Arum has promised a victory that wound up being an absolute total defeat for him. And he's done it recently and he's done it in the past. So let's talk about what Deontay Wilder and where they are and talk about the likelihood of what's going to happen in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, as we all know, Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury were supposed to have a third fight for their trilogy, but Tyson Fury decided, because Deontay Wilder hurt his little boo-boo feelings by telling the world something that was true, Tyson Fury is trying to get out of his rematch clause and, as a result, steal a ton of value from Deontay Wilder. Now, where are we specifically in this circumstance? Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are in arbitration, according to Bob Arum. Now, why would I believe Bob Arum in this regard when I disbelieve, or let me put it this way, I suspend belief or disbelief in what Bob Arum says until it actually happens. Then I will say, oh, Bob told the truth, or Bob was lying. In this particular circumstance, Bob does not have the track record, nor is he in the position to believe. So what does Bob Arum say? He says that the situation is now in arbitration. It was in mediation before. Mediation is where Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury are supposed to get together and try to work together with the mediator to find a solution and have a fight. Only when all parties agree that they cannot come up with an acceptable compromise do they move to a phase called arbitration. In arbitration, the same guy who was the mediator now takes off his mediator hat and puts on his arbitrator hat. The difference between the mediator hat and the arbitrator hat is the job description and the purpose. Here, the arbitrator in arbitration is going to come up with a decision. He is going to listen to the position of one guy, and then he's going to listen to the position of the other guy. He's going to ask some questions, however they go about doing it. He's going to look at the established, agreed upon facts, and then he's going to make a decision that is legally binding on Tyson Fury. Because it's Deontay Wilder that is seeking the relief and Tyson Fury that is trying to evade, in my opinion, responsibility. So the outcome is either going to be Tyson Fury is prevented from fighting anybody else other than Deontay Wilder, or Tyson Fury is going to be able to walk away and fight whoever he wants. So what does Bob Arum say? Bob Arum says exactly what Bob Arum you'd expect him to say. We're going to win. We don't expect the judge to issue an injunction, which means stop. An injunction means stop. Do not have a fight. You are enjoined, stopped from doing something, right? Prevented from doing something. He says, no, the judge is not going to prevent us from fighting. The worst that will happen is that Deontay will seek damages. Well, let's analyze this for a second. First, it's not supposed to get settled for 2 months, for up to 2 months. If it's up to 2 months, why would you think that the judge is not going to issue an injunction? You're not in a phase where he's telling you what he's going to do, right? Because there's at least another month in it. So he has to either be still taking evidence, or they have to still be going through the conversations and their fact finding and their questioning, or he's going to be in deliberation. So why deliberation means he's going to go away and think about it and make his decision. Would he be in deliberation for a solid month? No, he would not be, I don't think, right? Or up to 2 months? No. So that doesn't make sense based on the timeline Bob is giving you. However, the most important part is that it's Bob Arum giving it to you. And let's tell you why that's important. Because if you recall, back in November of 2020, when all of this started, Bob Arum assured the same people on the same platforms that Deontay Wilder did not have any recourse and that the contract was expired based on the plain language, and that was that. They were going to move on and have a fight in December. That's what Bob Arum said. Is that what happened? No, that is not what happened. What happened was that Tyson Fury was enjoined from having a fight. Enjoined. You know what it's called? A preliminary injunction. It was Tyson Fury. You are legally obligated to go through this mediation and arbitration process, and while we're doing it, you cannot have a fight. I also believe they also told them you cannot talk in public about what's going on in this trial. You cannot give the public key information. You cannot do that, right? And who said that? Deontay Wilder's camp said that because they said that the judge had issued a gag order, right? Which prevents them from giving relevant information to the press or anybody else about what's going on. But they wound up in mediation. So Bob Arum, what he said was a certainty was not. Let's go to another older example, but just as illuminating. Several years ago, Bob Arum sued Al Heyman and the PBC for violations of antitrust law, which means that they were trying to form and acting as a monopoly, and that they violated the Muhammad Ali Act, specifically the firewall between a boxer and a promoter. They went hard at the PBC, and the press acted as if it was something legitimate to it. But guess what happened when they went to court? The judge laughed them out. Laughed them out of court. The decision was read something like this. But by the way, Bob Arum dropped out quickly. As soon as Al Heyman showed that he had enough money and the wherewithal to push that through a court of law, Bob Arum dropped his portion of the suit right away. Why? Because Bob Arum knew it was horse shit when he filed it. First of all, the PBC was not acting as a monopoly. No way. They don't have anywhere near that type of market share. Number two, all they were trying to do is compete and get the lion's share of the market. And that, my friend, is not a monopoly. So just using that was horseshit. And then the violation of the Ali Act, that got thrown out because Bob Arum himself and Golden Boy themselves did business with Bob Arum and did business with Al Heyman. And Al Heyman had legitimate, recognized promoters promoting every fight. He worked with Top Rank. He worked with Golden Boy. He worked with Luda Bella. He worked with Main Events, right? He worked with TGB. All of these were legitimate promotional outfits that promoted the fight. So they said at this point, Oscar De La Hoya, what are you talking about, dude? You do business with him. How can you say that he's a monopoly when you do business with him? And how can you say that he is violating and acting as a promoter when he has legitimate promoters that are actually on the bill, licensed to promote the fight, that are acting as promoters, and he's not the promoter of record? They threw it out. I don't believe Bob Arum ever thought it was real, but he acted as if it was real on the way in, and the press acted like it was real, and the PBC's name took big hits because of it, despite the fact that there was nothing in law or in fact to support their accusations. I believe that the same thing is happening with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. I can't see any reason why a court would not hold Tyson Fury responsible and say, look, dude, you can't just skip out of this because you don't like what the guy said. You sign an agreement, and if he doesn't get this fight, considering the boxing politics involved, he may never get another shot at that championship again. All you guys are going to do to him is blackball him as soon as he gets out. No, you have to fight him. And then just assume for a second that the judge doesn't issue an injunctive relief. And Bob Arum said, well, you know what he's going to ask for? He may ask for damages. Bob, how much damages? And what type of damages? Expectation? He could say, yeah, I want the value of my fight. That could be as much as $100 million. Are you going to pay those damages? Well, if you can't pay the damages, what is he going to do? He is going to attach your property, homie, and he's going to attach the proceeds of that fight, which means that Deontay Wilder might take the money straight out of Bob Arum's hand, right? So don't tell me that this is some simple thing that is over with. It may be over with to the benefit of Tyson Fury, but we will know when it is actually decided. Just like we will know based on any other statement of Bob Arum's whether it's true or false based on what happens after the fact and not what comes out of his mouth, because what comes out of his mouth is not trustworthy. He tells the truth sometimes, and he will lie other times, and he is very, very clear about it. So that's my take on the situation. You let me know what you think, and with that, I'm out. Peace.